Welcome to LersRec Reviews, everyone. We're going to be taking a look at this High Point Compact C9 9mm. So stay tuned. We're going to be showing you a few clips of me firing the gun as well. So make sure you stay posted for the whole video. LersRec Reviews. Alright, let's go ahead and open up the box and show you what it comes with. Before we get too far into it, we're going to go ahead and perform our safety check just to let you see that there are no rounds in the gun. No magazine as well. I went ahead and I emptied all my mags just to ensure no accidents here today. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the gun to the side and show you what comes in the box. Now it does come with a range plug. Now it's not all that great of a range plug, but it does come with one, and it also comes with a trigger lock, a pretty nifty trigger lock. Now these are High Point trigger locks. Now they come like this on your carbine and your 380 and your 45. Depending on what caliber you get, you're still getting the same trigger lock. Also, it has a rear adjustable sight, and it does come with an extra ghost ring sight right here in the bag, and it also comes with your little chuck, your little tool chuck, as you can see right here. Now this little tool will help you lock your trigger lock into place and everything. Now the way that the trigger lock works, some of you probably already know, some of you might not know. You just put the trigger lock right there around the trigger, and then you can push it down right here with your little two teeth on your tool mechanism, and you can lock it in. Now what it already starts out with, orange dots in the rear with a yellow painted dot in the front, and it also has rear adjusting sights on it, and that's another good thing about it. You can adjust them from left to right and up and down, so you can get that spot on accuracy about 25 to 30 yards out. That's one thing I do like about this gun. Now we can go ahead and tell you some info about the gun. Overall 38 pieces, and that accounts for everything. It accounts for the one magazine, the two grips on each side, the sights, the nuts and bolts, and all your pins and springs and everything. It's only 38 pieces. So it's not that complicating to break completely down. We're not going to take it apart or anything because it's not that quick of a breakdown. So let's go ahead and tell you some info on it. It's about 7 inches long, and it also 5 inches tall, about 6 inches with the extended mag in it as well. And it also has the 3.5 inch barrel. Now if I had to account for the shell casing right here, now the shell casing is a little under 1/2 inch, so I would give the barrel about 3 1/4 inch. Now the gun is a polymer aluminum frame, so it's got this weird poly frame finish. I'm not really sure. I don't really like the finish on it as well. The feed ramp is nice and smooth, so it feeds that round in there real easy. The ejector tooth seems to be ejecting the rounds no problems. The only issue that I've really come up with is the magazines. Now I've read and watched some videos on some guys saying to try to open up the lip on the magazine, but I wouldn't recommend spreading that lip out, because then you're going to have issues with the mag just shooting rounds out of it on accident. All I would say is to polish the lip. Get like a little piece of sandpaper or something and just polish this lip out, so it makes for the rounds a little bit easier to slide in and out of these mags, which they consider them single stack 1911 style magazine. Another thing about it is if you have your magazine in the gun and the magazine is empty, so after you fire all 8 shots out, it will lock itself into place like you see here. It will lock itself into place when that last round is fired. So then you'll pop your empty mag out, and then you'll feed a new mag in with a round in it. And it does not have a slide lock lever. It does have a notch, so you can lock the slide manually, but it does not lock manually. So to get a new round in the gun after you feed a new magazine into the gun, you will have to wrap the slide and give it a good tug. So if it had a mag in there with a round in it, I would rack the slide like this and I could get it to pop forward. As you can see, there's a little bit of a trouble on that right there. I'm not sure why, but there are some good things about these firearms and some bad things about them. So let's go ahead and tell you the pros and cons, my opinion towards what I like and what I don't like about this high point. So let's go ahead and start with where your serial number is. Now, one thing I've seemed to notice on this serial number is it seems like it's a tiny little stamped piece of aluminum or something, and I can already see that this metal right here where my serial number is getting a little tarnished. That's one thing bad about it. Another bad thing about it is this polymer grip and everything. You could tell that it was like, you know, made in, I would say, kind of like a 3D printer, like a dang toy. It's got all, now if you know on these plastic toys where they're pieced together and everything, or where it's broke off, it's got all these edges on here that you need to kind of grind down. Like underneath it, it had all these sharp little plastic edges everywhere. So I mean, it's a clean gun overall, but I wouldn't say it's a good looking gun. It's not really a good feel. It's pretty heavy in the hand. The recoil on the gun is pretty bad as well. I mean, compared to my Smith & Wesson 40 caliber that I've paid $300 for, this gun kicks so much harder. We were talking about the recoil, and you know, whenever you fire the gun, it really rocks your hand a little bit more than other pistols that I've shot. Now, what I like is that it's a rear adjustable sight. I also like that it's very accurate. What I don't like is that it's a single stack magazine. It's a low capacity. Now, even with the extended mag, it's only 10 rounds. And when I first bought this magazine, I had issues with it failure to feed properly when I had the mag fully loaded. Now, when I only had about 5 or 6 rounds in the mag, it would function just fine. But if I had a full 10 rounds, I had some issues with it. Now, I guess you would say I just had to break the magazine in a little bit, so I went ahead and sanded down the lip on this mag as well, and now it seems to be functioning fine. So we're going to go ahead and show you the clip on me firing the extended mag as well as the standard 8-round mag. We only got a few rounds loaded up in each mag. Pretty much like, I guess you could say, as I'm putting the rounds into the mag, until I start to feel a lot of tension, I'll stop. So about 6 or 7 rounds in the 10 rounds. This is just the standard 8-round mag. So I got about, what, 6? Yeah, about 6 rounds in this one. So let's rack one back. I do this just to ensure a cycle, and then, I mean, if I have time, if it doesn't start raining on me, I'll load up some more and shoot some more. Here we go. Yeah, 2 were on center, but then as I started to kind of speed it up, I mean, the groupings, like the first 2, those are nice, and then the next 3 right there under it, those are nice, but that one way off, I don't know what happened. Maybe I flinched or something. But now we're going to go ahead and pop the 10-round mag into it. Now it's the 10 round. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. Now, I've had issues with these mags, the extended mags only for some reason with high point. So, get that going and see how we can get it going. Looks like we straight shot through what I had it stapled to. I just had it rigged up there. Let's go ahead and put it on safety. Drop it into the holster and fix our target. We'll be back. Alright, we got the target set back up, covered up those existing holes. See how good I can do now. Yep. Let's go ahead and load them all the way up, since they cycled fine out of the C9 pistol made by High Point. So let's go ahead and load up a full mag and see how they cycle. Alright, we got the 8-round mag fully loaded up. Let's go ahead and rack one back. Now all I'm doing is I'm 10 yards away. Alright, like I'm just drawing a line up and down on the target, as you can see right there. Let's go ahead and patch those holes and try the 10-round mag. We got it fully loaded up too. Alright, now we got the 10-round mag loaded up, and I've had some issues in the past with the 10-round. We got a full 10 rounds in it. Let's rack one back and see how it functions. Here we go. Look at that, failure to feed properly. Go ahead, clear that round, mag back in, rack it back. Well, got that one round. Failure to feed up in there. That was what, the second or third round? Let's go ahead and put the round back into the mag. It's a little humid out here. And it's December, Christmas time. We in Georgia and it's humid as crap. I'm liking it though. Shoot this last round. I mean, as you can see, as I continue to progress and fire the gun, like this is, you know, I don't get out here too often, but when I do, I try to fire as much off as I can just to get that practice in. But as you can see, as I continue to firing, you know, went through about 4 mags, and you could see my grouping. They're nice and tight, but now I'm actually keeping them in a tighter circle, you know, rather than drawing a straight line down. So as you continue to progress, you get a little bit better. So practice, practice. Some people would think that the weight on this gun would help the recoil, but in my experience, it did not. It is real jumpy in the hand. Even if you grip it really nice and tight, it's still real jumpy in the hand. Now, it's way worse than some other pistols that I've shot. Now, that's just my experience with the recoil. Another thing I do not like about it, like I was saying, is this fat grip and that it's only a single stack magazine. I wish they would have double stacked it, but I'm not sure, because whenever you go in and you look at the design of the gun, you see that the safety and the way that your mag release button is and everything, you can already see that they're not able to get a double stack mag in here the way that they designed the firearm. Now it says it has an observation port. Now I'm wondering what they meant by that, but right here where your ejector tooth is, it has 2 little gaps around it. Now if you do have a round in the chamber, you could just turn the gun over and look directly into those little holes and you could see the brass shining. So that's what they mean by that little chamber observation port on there. Another thing I do not like about the gun is the grips. Now the standard grips that it comes with, they're not really, you know, they don't have any grooving in it where it's really tight. Now if your hands got moist, and you know, it will slide around in your grip. Now what I done is I went out and I bought this little $9 rubber wraparound grip, and it also has your notches right here for your fingers. Now it makes it for a better feel, and it does help the recoil a little bit, but not too much. Now I do like that they have a 10-round mag for it as well. Now these mags are interchangeable with the 380 as well. So if you have a 380 and a 9 or a 9 and you have mags for your 380, you can use those magazines in each other, so they're interchangeable. If you have a bigger hand, having that extra extended grip on the extended mag helps a little bit, so you're not riding that grip so high. Now with these pistols, the slide is real big, and the safety notch right here, the safety notch tends to pinch your hand down here a little bit. Now I haven't been able to have that issue, but I've seen some other guys have that issue, and some friend of mine who shot the gun as well had that issue. But there's another negative thing I do not like about it. Now, the older models that I've experienced, they would still fire without the magazine in the gun. But for some reason, I guess it's a new safety in these models, it will not fire. Even though you have the safety off, it still will not fire without the magazine in the gun. So that's another cool safety about this gun. It does have an external safety right here. You could flip up, and when it's flipped up it's on safe, and when it's flipped down it's off safe. So it's an orange dot for the safety, which I don't know. I mean, orange is okay. I've always been used to red. The trigger's pretty stiff, so I'd give it about 7.5, 6 pounds on the trigger. But if you can get a good look, they try to do that little 3 holes in the trigger. It kind of resembles the 1911, just like the magazines resemble a 1911 as well. But this gun is far from a 1911. Now, I've also heard in some videos they talk about how the carbine, the 9mm carbine magazines are 10 round mags as well, and I own a carbine, and they say that these 10 round mags will work in here. I wouldn't recommend using these mags just because of how they're real loose. They do not, they're not set in there real good. On this extended mag, it's pretty much the same exact magazine, but the difference would be this extended pinky area right here at the bottom. Now it does seem to try to help that wiggle option a little bit, but there's still some wiggle room in that magazine. So I guess I could probably go out and test and see if this mag will work for it as well. And I also have an extended mag for the 995 carbine as well. It will lock into place. It's for the 9mm. It will lock into place. There's a little bit of wiggle room in there as well. I mean, I wouldn't recommend using these mags to fire out of this gun. But if you just wanted to see if it works, I might be able to post that video. So post me a comment down below if you want to see if these mags will work in this gun. I'll go ahead and do that for you and upload that video if you want to know that. Like I was saying, I wouldn't recommend it, and I really wouldn't want to do that. But I will do it if I get a lot of comments saying, see if these mags will work. And I'll go ahead and try that out. I can show you how they break it down. The way that I like to break it down is I rack the slide and I lock it into place, and then the safety notches on both sides, you can see the pin in there. You're going to want to pop that pin out, and then you could slide your slide forward, and then you'll notice that the barrel is not a floating barrel. The barrel is fixed into the aluminum grip. Another thing I wanted to show you guys on this high point is the firing pin right here. I don't know if you can really see inside of it too well, but right there the firing pin is exposed every time it is racked back. So that could lead to a broken firing pin. Just to let you know from experience, I did break a firing pin, but it was on the model 995 carbine. And it is very used, and it's probably after about 1,000 rounds. But still, just having that exposed firing pin in there will lead to a broken firing pin. And the reason being is if you see when a round gets caught in there, it gets caught up like that, like so. And if it's trying to rack itself back forward and that firing pin's there, that round will break the firing pin right off. And that's just from experience. That's another thing I wanted to let you guys know about. That's pretty much my verbal review, and also showing you a few clips of me firing the gun. Now, this is brought to you by LersRec Reviews. I really do appreciate it if you viewed this video and you watched it all the way through. So post any comments below if you have any questions. And also, thanks for watching LersRec Reviews.